have the real look of the Wild West, from their hats to their boots. They holster their 6-shot revolvers. And they can handle a Winchester rifle or a shotgun. Their aim is to be faster and more accurate than the next guy or gal. That's the only way you win at this game.
You got to play the part. You got to dress it. You got to look like a cowboy.
Duck Spudley, whose real name is Tom Tater, is president of the Deadwood Marshals. It's part of the National Single Action Shooter Society, a competitive group that has turned a patch of swampy ground near Sorrento into a scene right out of the Wild West, where there's a shootout behind every door or around the next corner.
There's a scenario of pistol, rifle, and shotgun targets, and it has to be shot in a prescribed order. When the buzzer goes off, you draw and start shooting. It's not quick draw, but it is speed shooting.
Over the past few years, this club has built their version of Deadwood, which has a marshal's office, a jail, a barn, a pig pen, and a mercantile store. These buildings are the stages for their shootouts.
My handle is Captain Billy Blackhorse. Nobody goes by their real name out here. You have to kind of pick an alias. Once you start, you kind of get hooked, and it's friendly competition.
An average shooter can shoot all 4 guns in about between 20 and 30 seconds.
And each missed target adds another 5 seconds to the time.
My wife kind of jokes with me and says it's a male excuse to play dress up, and it's kind of a means by which we can go back in time and kind of vicariously live our television hero days gone by.
It's where playing a gunslinging cowboy turns into a competitive shooting sport. And it happens on the streets of a town they call Deadwood. With the heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara, Fox 8 News. It was through the genius of early French settlers in an eastern corner of Canada that this farmland took shape and a North American culture was born.
There are some principles about the trait of these early settlers that make you love them because they forgive their individuality for the good of the community.
Tour guide Richard Laurent is a descendant of those original Acadian settlers in Nova Scotia. He helps others from around the world rediscover their Acadian roots. This is the site where so many of those French-speaking villagers were deported by British authorities.
They didn't know where they were going, but this would have been the last image that they would have had of their beloved Grand Pré before they were expelled.
The center of this memorial cross points in every direction, a reminder that the Acadians were sent to both sides of the Atlantic and Louisiana.
You can just picture them here with the farmland and all the water.
William and Karen Babin are from Folsom, Louisiana. His ancestors were among those deported in the 1750s.
You try to envision exactly, this is the site where they put them on the boats and everything, exactly what happened, you know, and what their feelings were going to be, because they had no idea where they were going.
Grand Pré, Nova Scotia is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site that recognizes both the culture and the ingenuity of those first Acadians. This coastal farmland, more than 3,000 acres, is all below sea level, and it's land that was created by the original Acadian settlers in the late 1600s. The tides here are among the highest in the world, with a range of 30 to 40 feet twice a day.
They accomplished the impossible, to hold back the tides and to be neutral also.
In the hours when the tide was out, the Acadians would build dikes and create dry land and slowly push back the sea. And they relied on the rain, snowmelt, and a simple drain called an aboiteau to flush out the new land.
So when the tides are low, the water is funneled through the marsh, so the water drains through here naturally, and it goes back to the ocean. And when the tides change, about 6 hours later, the waters come up, and it presses this close, so it just goes in one direction, so then the water doesn't come back in.
The fact that Grand Pré was inscribed by UNESCO on the World Heritage List means that it's important for all humanity.
Claude DeGrasse, the former manager of the Grand Pré site, led the effort to get the World Heritage designation. He said this site speaks to the resilience of the Acadian people, who were deported and robbed of their land, and then in the 1920s returned to this site and rebuilt the old Acadian church of Grand Pré.
They reappropriated the land on which they were deported in a peaceful way, in a peaceful way with the local people. The local community basically was the one who invited the Acadians to come here and build a memorial.
Near the church, a stone monument built from the foundations of the early village marks the site of the original cemetery.
You'll see tears from a lot of people. You'll see tears from people, especially from Louisiana.
The old levees still hold back the giant tides. This farmland and a rich Acadian culture have defied the odds for the past 300 years. With the heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara, Fox 8 News. Of all the musical sounds you can hear around New Orleans' French Quarter, there was something very special about watching a July sunset at Jackson Square and being serenaded by the bagpipes. I remember thinking, only in New Orleans. It was one of those impromptu performances that I love about this city. Fast forward 7 months to a street corner in the Lower Garden District. That same bagpiper standing outside a coffee shop welcoming a sunny February morning. His name is Timothy Wade. He says he travels a lot, mostly by bicycle and sailboat. His mother's family is from the town of Lafitte. He says this is what he's always wanted to do.
Honestly, I've wanted to play since I was 3 or 4 years old, and I've got a lot of time now to play and learn and kind of keep at it.
It seems Washington Artillery Park in front of Jackson Square is a favorite spot to play, and sunset is the perfect time.
I guess it's kind of beyond words. Really, I don't know what to say other than it feels right, and I guess New Orleans needs a piper, so I want to be it, you know.
Wade only started playing the pipes 5 years ago. He's 47 now and admits he's still learning.
It's just worth it. It's hard and good and keen, and I love it, and still learning. And it's kind of like surfing. You better keep going once you start. You can't stop in the middle of a tune. And I'm still learning on it, just kind of making noise.
It's a typical New Orleans blend of sounds. In the distance, a brass band is playing on the other side of Jackson Square. The steam calliope on the paddle wheeler Natchez welcomes tourists for an evening cruise. You hear the bells of St. Louis Cathedral, and visitors pose for pictures with a piper. Wade gets a few tips and says he makes more than he spends, so he keeps playing.
The goal is to be able to play tomorrow.
The bagpipes bid farewell to the sun as it drops below the horizon. People stroll along America's greatest river as the night creeps in. And a city is kissed goodnight with the sound of the bagpipes and by a fading glow in the western sky. With the heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara, Fox 8 News.